Okay, this is the third lesson of Module 3. We're going to be multiplying fractions, and we have a wide variety of fractions on here. We're taking whole numbers by normal fractions. We're doing a normal fraction by a normal fraction. We have mixed numbers on here. We have all of it together. You guys have done this before. I happen to like multiplying fractions better than adding and subtracting fractions because I don't have to find a common denominator, and I'm good at my facts. If you're good at your facts, these are going to be simple and quick for you. I am going to teach you a new thing on here that you might not have learned last year. Some of you may know how to do it, but not all of you. So we're going to practice. And I know it might be a little overwhelming at first, but I will tell you it's the way that you want to do it because it will go a lot quicker. So let's look at the first one. Anytime we're multiplying by a whole number, we have to make it into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. We're going to just multiply the top numbers. 7 times 4 is 28. 1 times 8 is 8. This is an improper fraction, so we have to change it. But before I do that, I'm going to simplify it so I don't have to simplify it later. I know that 4 can go into both of these. 28 divided by 4 is 7. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now I'm going to change it. So top number underneath, bottom number goes to the outside. 2 times 3 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. So I get 3 and 1/2. If I wanted to simplify it there, I would have to simplify it here. I like to simplify beforehand because it's less to do at the end. We have a whole number, so we've changed to a fraction. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 6 is 6. So we get an answer of 1/6. Okay, anything times 1 is going to be the number, though, just like it is. The word of means multiplication. We have to put a 1 underneath the 5. I'm going to rewrite this so it looks a little nicer. Now I'm going to introduce something to you called cross-canceling. When we cross-cancel, we look diagonally. And if it has a number diagonally that factors of the same thing can go into it, so like if I have 2 5s, I know 5 can go into 5 and 5. So 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 5 once. So I made it a lot smaller so I don't have to worry about those big numbers at the end. So we end up getting 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1, which is 1. And with that one, it wouldn't have been such a big deal if you didn't cross cancel because you would have gotten just 5 over 5, which is 1. But sometimes it's going to make your numbers a lot smaller. Let's take a look at the next one. I have 6 eighths times 3 twelfths. We're going to look diagonally. 3 and 8, the only thing that can go into 3 8 is 1. But if I look at the 6 and the 12, 6 can go into 6 once. 6 can go into 12 twice. So I have really made those numbers a lot smaller and more manageable. 1 times 3 is 3. 8 times 2 is 16. And we're finished right there. If we wouldn't have cross-canceled, we would have gotten bigger numbers and had to simplify. Cross-canceling is just simplifying before we get our answer. Let's look at this one. 8 and 7, only 1 can go into there. But if we look at our 4 and our 10, I know 2 can go into 4 twice. And I know 2 can go into 10 5 times. So now let's multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. 5 times 7 is 35. And the only thing that can go into those is 1, so that's our answer. Let's look at our next one. 2 and 10. 2 can go into 2 once. 2 can go into 10 twice. Not twice, I'm sorry. 5 times. Then we can look the other way also. You can do it both ways. Anytime we have the same number diagonally, we can cross them out and make them ones. So even if you're not understanding the other part of cross-canceling, if it's the same number, diagonally, we take them out and make them ones. Because 3 divided by 3 is 1, 3 divided by 3 is 1. Now we're going to multiply. 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 5 is 5. So I get 1/5. Okay, we're going to get into a little bit more intense. We have to change this mixed number into an improper fraction. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus 2 is 26. We keep the same denominator, times 9/10. Nothing can go into the 8 and the 9. But if we look at the 26 and the 10, they're both even, so I can take out a 2. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 goes into 26 13 times. 8 times 5 is 40. 13 times 9 is 117. This is an improper fraction, so we need to divide it. I know that 40 cannot go into 1, and it can't go into 11, but it can go into 117. So if I count by 4s and just forget my 0 for a second, I have 4, 8, 12. Now, that is too big. So, 12 would be too big because that would be 120, so we have to scale it back to 2 because that's 80. 7 minus 0 is 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, we get 3. So 2 and 37 over 40. That one is a weird answer. And just because you get a weird fraction does not mean it's a wrong fraction. Let's change this mixed number into an improper fraction. So we're going to multiply and then add. 3, 4. We get 4 over 3. And then 3 over 8. 3's diagonally. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then the 4 and the 8, 4 can go into both of those. So 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 8 twice. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2, so we get a half. If you don't see the cross canceling, or maybe you only do one side or not the biggest number, you will then have to simplify at the end. Let's change this mixed number. So 2 times 10 is 20 plus 4. We get 24 over 10 times 4 over 5. Let's look diagonally. Nothing can change with that 24 and 5, but let's look at that 10 and 4. 2 can go into 4 twice, and 2 can go into 10 5 times. 24 times 2 is 48. 5 times 5 is 25. This is an improper fraction because the top number, which is the numerator, is smaller than the bottom number. So I need to divide it. Some of you can work these out in your heads like nobody's business, and if you can do that, do that. But if you start missing them, I'm going to make you start working them out. 24 goes into 48 once. Unfortunately, not twice because it would have to be 50. When I subtract this, I get 23. So I get my whole number of 1. 23 is my numerator. And then 25 is my denominator. Okay, let's look at our last row. Now we have mixed numbers on the first number and the second number. So 4, 5, 6. I have 6 over 4. Times 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 5 is 23 over 6. I can make my 6's go away and get 1s. Nothing can happen with that 4 and 23. So 23 over 4. We have to divide that to find our mixed number. 4 times 5 is 20. 23 minus 20 is 3. So 5 and 3/4 is our answer. Because that 3 goes up here, that 4 goes over here. Let's look at this one. 6, 7. So 7 over 6 times 24 plus 6 is 30 over 12. Let's look at our 7 and our 12. Only thing that can go into those is 1. But our 30 and our 6. Our 6 can go into 6 once. 6 can go into 35 times. 7 times 5 is 35. 1 times 12 is 12. I'm going to divide that because that's an improper fraction. 12 times 2 is 24. We get 11 when we subtract that. So we get 2, which is our whole number there. 11 goes on top, and 12 goes on the bottom. Now, if you're struggling with this, it's probably because you don't know your factors very well. So there's a lot of different games online you can do to play to get your facts down. You can study your flashcards. I just suggest that you get going with your facts more so you know them better, and this will be a lot easier for you. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So I have 5 over 2 times 15 plus 4 is 19 over 5. 5s are the same, so we can cross those out and make them 1s. 2 and 19, nothing's working with that. So 1 times 19 is 19. 2 times 1 is 2. Improper fraction. If you leave it like that, I will count it wrong. So 19 divided by 2. 2 times 9 is 18. 19 minus 18 is 1. So I have 9. That 1 goes right here. That 2 goes down here. So 9 and 1/2. And again, study your factors. If you're struggling with this, number one thing that's going to happen is you're not going to know your factors, and that makes it hard to simplify or multiply.